1, 2, 3.
Hey, it's Kimberly Smith Austin, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Made to Inspire podcast. I am here with my awesome and amazing co-host, Misty Kerrigan. Hey, Misty.
Hey, Kimberly. Happy Mental Health Month. You reminded me of this morning.
Yes, happy May.
I love May. May is one of my favorite months, especially in California, because it's a little bit of spring coming into summer. Everyone seems a little more excited. The sun's out till what, like 8? Okay. Mornings start a little more earlier. You could wake up at 6 and it's still some light out. It's a great month to really get going in the things, getting ready for summer. And I love summer because it's a time for entrepreneurs not to slow down, but to speed up.
Yep. Or spring forward. Yes. It's an excellent time. And, you said it. I love, and I think I'm not the only one, but you love, and I believe there's a large population of people who love this time of year because the flowers are blooming, the birds are singing, there's movement. There's physical movement. There's, emotional movement. There's change that's happening. When you mentioned the mental health thing, I think about the seasons, the fall, the winter, the spring, and summer, and how those seasons align with our mental health, how they align with our physical health, and just helping us as a person shift. And you all know we've been talking about the shift from employee to entrepreneur these last few weeks. And this show is really going to be handling that content again, but looking at it from a different light. And we are super excited to be here with you once again to just help you think about what you're thinking about. Think about where you're going with your career, with your life, with your business, with your health, all of that. Here at Made to Inspire podcast, it's all about the entrepreneur, the business owner, the dreamer. Every season of your life, you're going to find something here. And we're excited to be here with you all today. So, Misty, what are we talking about?
Well, it is Mental Health Month, and we were able to do some research on entrepreneurs, and it turns out it was kind of scary for us entrepreneurs out there in the research that we do when it comes to mental health, because a lot of us struggle with stress, anxiety, and depression.
Yeah. Real deal. It's a real deal. It's a real challenge. It's a real issue. And today we're going to combat that. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to combat because this is not a panacea. We're not going to do it all, but we're going to give you tools, tips, and tactics to help you really make some of those adjustments in your life so you can have better mental health altogether. But Misty, I know we also talked a little bit about, opportunities are not just necessarily what we wait for, but they're things that we create. And as entrepreneurs, creating, envisioning, building, that takes a toll on our body. It takes a toll on our mind. So we're kind of giving you a mashup, a mosh posh kind of show today and talking about a variety of things to get you on your way.
I love that because we're talking about the seasons are important. And I think this is a great season. People are out connecting a little more. It's summer, you're outside, maybe more people that in the last couple of years that haven't felt safe. I had a friend I haven't seen in a couple of years, but she came out with us on Saturday for dinner, and we ate outside of the restaurant. And so it felt a little safer for her to come and have that. But it was funny because as we were connecting, I love that, is really looking at the courage to be able to have conversations about, especially as an entrepreneur who's shifting into something new, or you're ready to share your idea, is having those courageous conversations about where you're headed and why you want to go there. So creating the opportunity for you to be able to talk about your big dream that is now a vision, that is now something that you are moving forth in. And one of the things we've always talked about here is clarity, having clarity in that, because you're going to have so much opportunities, I think, this summer to be able to connect with people. And yes, you got to get through the, how are you, how's the family? And that's great. But I would rather be in conversations talking about dreams and where people want to go and what do they want to do with their business or how they want to start a business than about why Bertha isn't married anymore or what happened to her. I don't care. I don't, never been one to gossip, always been one to talk about the future. And I think having those clear conversations on engaging people during this time when you're networking a little more. And we have shows on that and more shows coming out on that. But when you're out connecting, whether it's at a ball game or a picnic, are you clear? Are you clear in where you're headed and what your dream and vision is?
Yeah, that's so important. And I love the fact that you talked about creating. And I think I've shared this with you a billion times. My favorite quote from George Bernard Shaw, he says, "Don't wait for the right opportunity, create it." And I told Misty this morning that I've loved that quote since 20, probably younger than 20. But when I really my mind was shifting. I was in business undergraduate school with a business program. And then I went to MBA for graduate school, but it was always about, I'm not going to wait for someone to present me something. I'm going to create it, creating the conversations, creating the lifestyle, creating the business, the dream that your heart desires. And I know right now we're in a season where people stepped away from corporate America and started creating their own businesses. In fact, some of the statistics show that some of them didn't even necessarily go into their own businesses right away. But what they learned is that corporate America was not for them anymore. They didn't like the 9 to 5. They didn't like the structure. And as a result, they knew it was time to create something new for themselves and their lives. You know, one of the statistics I looked up this morning, it says that 40% of small businesses, people who decide to create, build something, 40% of those businesses are actually profitable. So people were comfortable to some degree walking away knowing that they could create profit for themselves. They could create an income. They could create a legacy. Then there's a 30% of businesses who break even. And when you think about that, there are people who said, you know what? Yes, I'd love to have the $1 million year or the 6-figure income, but if I can just make what I need to cover my expenses, it's enough for me to create my vision and live that vision. So 30% broke even. And then there were 30% who are still losing money, but they're so committed to their dream, to their vision, to their goal that they're walking forward in it. So again, we don't have to wait for the opportunity. We can create it. But we know with the creation process, it takes time, it takes talent, it takes treasure, and it takes a lot of your mental, a lot of mental, because most times you're a one-man operation and you're doing this thing alone and you're going crazy. You're driving yourself crazy, trying to create the perfect plan, the perfect program, the perfect product. And so you find yourself at a place where we are here talking about today.
I love that. I think you hit a lot of great points. Is having that time to just get it out of your head. Having that time to get it out of your head and into the work, sitting down, writing it out.
And making things happen, because that's what happens, you know. And I think people drive themselves crazy. And I've recently discovered this even more so, is that we have these, I call them CPUs, right? Like a computer. These are our CPUs, central processing unit. And as a result, a lot of times we try to keep everything inside of this. But Misty hit it so well. We need to write it down. Stop creating crazy chaos for yourself by keeping it here. Throw it onto the paper to help you really see that dream, that vision, and then carry it forward. It's so funny. About a month ago, my son and I were walking on a Thursday. And while we're walking, we talk about dreams and things we love. And I came up with the book title. And I was certain that this was the title. I throwed it against him and said, you like this one or this one? And he liked the new one I had just created. We finished our walk, got back home, and I went to living life, which is what we do. 2 days ago, I go, hey, son, do you remember what that title was? I lost it. And I'm telling you, it was fire. I don't remember what it was, but I'm certain it was fire.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
I hope so.
I love that. I think when we have a systems, which we've talked about in that last one, and we've done it too, and now we're way better at it, at least a little better at it. I lost an entire page of notes from one of our last shows, and the question was, oh, did we put it onto our computer system, which we use Trello? And I was like, oh no, I didn't. I just took the notes and then the computer shut down. So now it's, okay, what's the system for taking the notes? And I know you have a system for ideas where you put them in your journal and you even put the date on them. And you may not get to them within that year, but you definitely have a system to review and then move that out forward. And I think part of the, especially creating opportunity in new entrepreneurs, is the excitement. And as things hit you, being able to throw them somewhere and take the time to go through them as you bring them to fruition. I can't tell you how many times we added to the book when I wrote the book a couple of years ago, but it was because we had that process to just, to make it better, let's add this, to make it better, let's add this. But having that vision of what we wanted, but still flexible enough to add and be creative in opportunities where it was almost a higher power connection with, here's an idea, run with it.
That's it. I love that. I love it. So when we come here to today's show, we're really looking at that shift again from employee to entrepreneur, thinking about where you are mentally, physically, emotionally to help you see the success that you need. Recognizing that the transition takes time. It takes time. And some of you may be new to the game and just starting this journey, but some of you may have been working at an employer and now looking to make that shift, and you're trying to make a leap. No longer just a little baby step, but a leap because it's here and you're passionate about it in your heart. So today we're just here talking about some general things. Misty shared some very good enlightenment, some in scenarios or information with me regarding a recent interview that she heard from a world famous actress and some of the sentiments. And it goes back to, if you don't have something that you want in your life, you have to be willing to do what you have to do until you get to the place where you can do what you want to do. And I'm going to repeat that because Oprah Winfrey wrote a quote: do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. That's a tough one, because I know we live in a microwave society and we want it now. But the truth be told is we have to build it. We have to create it. And that's a process. And in that process, if you stay consistent, if you stay persistent, you stay diligent, determined, and dedicated, you can certainly make it happen.
I love that. It's that whole thing of how you kind of see failure. Like some people see failure as, oh, that means it wasn't for me. And other people see failure as, oh, how do I make it better next time? Or my favorite is see failure as, well, at least I know it's not that way to get to what I need or what I want. Let me try another way. But really the only thing that will stop is when we stop. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that makes me laugh all the time is we will write plans of how we're going to work out. There's people that write plans weekly of how they're going to eat. But a lot of entrepreneurs and even business owners don't have plans on their business. Where are they taking? What quarter? What are the things they're supposed to be in? But really have that sort of thing is we'll take more time to plan a meal than we will a company. And really having that, why? Take the time, sit down. I think sometimes we're scared we're going to plan and not reach that plan. And that's going to be failure. And then we're going to be disappointed, which is okay. But the crazy part is, and psychology shows us all the time, the more you think of something that you want, you focus on it and you create it and you write down plans for it, the more likely you are you're going to hit that. When you say something out loud and you put something with measurements, there's a phenomenon, whatever that word is, something happens and you are more likely to come closer to it than if you were just thinking, oh yeah, that's kind of where I want to be, and then moving forward. So there's a lot we have to do as entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
In that sense of getting to what it is, what we want, getting to where it is and doing the things that we want definitely takes that whole time of doing what needs to be done until you reach that certain point. And I think a lot of people, they sometimes don't focus on that part of it. Yeah. And my favorite quote that I heard, and I've said it, I think the last 2 weeks, is an entrepreneur is the only one who will work 100 hours a week, not to work 40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And, when I think about that, I think about what you said. What you focus on is what you get. What you focus on is what you get. So if you know that you have goals and plans and visions to go to that next level, if you're focusing on that and you're putting the time, energy, and effort to make it happen, then it's bound to happen. But I want to look at the other side of it. The other side that says, what I focus on, if you're focused on negativity, if you're focusing on failure, if you're focusing on those things, guess what you're also going to get? So as entrepreneurs, we have to make that shift. And I tell people all the time, especially in my wellness company, is that your body can do anything. It's your mind that you have to convince. It's the mind that you have to shift. And so when you think about that whole concept is what you focus on, focusing on failure will set you on a pathway to failure. So here's what I say. We don't lose, we learn. We don't lose, we learn. We take those failures, we recognize them, setbacks as a setup for a comeback, because we want to create something for ourselves. And true success happens only through the steps of failure. You know, we think about the invention of the car, the invention of the telephone, modern day technology that you and I use every single day. It didn't happen because some brainiac came up with this idea, one idea, and boom, it came to life. No, it took 10,000 attempts, 10,000 attempts to make the light bulb what it is. So we must recognize that as we're going through this process as entrepreneurs, that we focus on the positive pathway so that we can achieve the success, recognizing that failure is a part of the process, but it's our learning curve, it's our learning opportunity to really help us get to that next place. And when we do that, again, we go back to the quote of, we don't wait for the opportunity, we create it. We create it. It's like a scientist in the lab. They do multiple, I don't know the word, test of something to test and prove that it works or prove that it doesn't work. They don't do one sample, they do multiple, and they keep their lab report. They have it written down. This worked. I added this additive, this change. They're doing research, and that's what we're doing here, moving from that employer side to the entrepreneur, from the employee side to the entrepreneur. We're making that shift, and it requires us to take those steps to get there.
And it's so true. So how can we help people? What are our steps?
Well, you tell me. I know we've got quite a few. And when you look at that, let's start with the first one, creating that pathway. And I just talked about that a little bit. What is that pathway to get you to that next place? What do you have to do, Mr. or Mrs. pursuing entrepreneurship? Maybe you're there, or maybe you're on your journey. What is that pathway for you? We know we've talked about it over the last few weeks, obviously identifying your product, identifying your ideal client, and then determining how you're going to serve them with your products and services on the marketplace. Really determining what is it that I need to create? What kind of environment, what kind of culture do I need to create in order to get me to that new place and to that business that my heart and mind desires? That pathway is your everything, because it truly is your roadmap, your path, your journey to success.
And that could be skills, right? Like maybe you need a little more on the business side of it, or the numbers or KPIs or the things that we always talk about. That could also be understanding your population. So where is your dream customer, and getting some plans onto that, and where are they, and how do you get to be there too, and make those connections. But the pathway is really, where is it you want to be, and how do you get there? And step 1, step 2, step 3, so that you can knock those things out. And I love it because we get to hang around a lot of entrepreneurs, and they are frugal in the sense of even ones I've seen 6-7 figures, they're probably doing really great because they are frugal, but taking that time to not just spend money to spend money, but they're looking at their marketing plans. They're not just investing money, but they're really looking at, where's this money going, and how is it going to be my return on investment on this? But taking that time to look through the details, try something small, and then go bigger with it. But it's I think it's just being intentional about where you're headed and the best way to get there.
You know, as you said that, the word that came to mind is wise, wise. And we know that wisdom, and as a kid, real short story, as a kid, people would ask me if I could have anything in the world, what would it be? As a 9-year-old kid, I said wisdom. As a 12-year-old kid, I said wisdom. As a 16-year-old kid, I said wisdom, because I know with wisdom, I can acquire all of the other things, whether it's material things and all these things, but wisdom was my desire. So when you say entrepreneurs making decisions, they're making wise decisions, wise money-making decisions, wise business decisions, so they can see themselves go to that next place. And I think as a result of that, they do what we call step number 2, or the next action step, is they create joy for themselves. When you know that every day, at the end of the day, you can go to bed with a clear conscience that you've created something that was going to make an impact in the world, and that you did it with integrity, you did it with heart, you go to bed with the mindset and the feeling of joy, joy, and more joy, because your product and service will create joy for those around you. And I think that's probably the most exciting piece for me. When I work with businesses or individuals and help them build their strategy and plan for their business, or help people with their health and nutrition, wow. And I see the change, that's joy. And that internal gratitude, that internal gratification that happens, intrinsic, it's you can't explain it.
And I think if you find joy in the journey and the whole part of it, that's going to help your mindset. Because there is long days, or there is disappointments, there is sales you thought that didn't come through, or pandemics in the middle of nowhere, right? So in that sense is, where do I find my joy? And then where do I look to find that and help others with it? And I love the concept of, it's not good or bad until I decide it so. So why not decide it all is good? Because our lives are just our perceptions and our beliefs, and our perceptions and our beliefs create our future. Even the way science shows us, even though the mood we're in will change a memory. The mood I'm in today, thinking about something that happened in the past, affects that memory. It's the craziest phenomenon ever. I said it right. But that's the whole thing, is you get to be in charge of your joy. You get to be in charge of what's working. Even if nothing's working at that time, you still can decide how you're going to react to it or plan for it the next time. But really just sitting in that place of, this is happening and what do I do with it? And the two things people always say is stay in that sense of thankfulness. And if you stay in that sense of thankfulness and connection to a higher power, you're more likely going to ride and life comes with ups and downs. That's what life is, right? You're going to ride the downs and enjoy more of the ups if you're able to stay in that center of, everything in life is for me and I can find joy.
That's right. Even in the tough times, right? Those setbacks. And I was telling Misty earlier, in the Bible, James says, trials and tribulations may come, but we count it all joy. Woo! That's hard, because I'm sure you're going to have hard times in your life, and you probably already have. And in this business, building a business process, you will have more. But if you look at it as joyful, again, as a lesson, not a loss, looking at it as an opportunity, not an obstacle, you're going to shift your mindset and shift the way you see life. And I'm so grateful that happened to me in my late 20s, because now I see life totally different. No more negative Nellie. I'm positive Polly, and I'm looking at how I can create more, how I can be more, how I can do more and see more, experience more. That's what happens when you shift the mindset. When you recognize that you don't have to wait, that you can create. Woo, I'm rhyming now. You don't have to wait, that you can create your future. And as a result of that, guess what happens? You begin creating number 3 action step, momentum. Momentum. Remember, it's hard to stop a moving train. But if you stop and you find yourself trying to get it up, get it up, get it up, but once it's in motion, you can't stop it. And that's exactly where you're going to be, where you are, or where you soon will be, by creating that pathway and creating that joy. Then bring the momentum to come behind it. There's a quote that says, I will, watch me. watch me, and I'm going to add a second part to it and try to stop me, because it's almost impossible. It's inevitable, because when you have that passion in your heart for the thing that you see, the thing that you believe, you're in motion and you're making changes for yourself, your future, the business, your family, and creating a legacy that will last a lifetime.
Oof, I love that. And I think you nailed it. Momentum comes from when you're not stop starting. And unfortunately, in business, that's where a lot of people fail when they give up, is in that stop, start, stop, start. But if it's in that momentum and move forward, and momentum is energy, and momentum creates energy. And when I think of momentum, I think of some of the things for you, entrepreneur out there, your momentum of your eating, your energy, your exercise, but all of that goes towards the business. If you're not taking care of yourself, the business can't be momentum, because you are a reflection of the business and the business a reflection of you. So keeping your life in momentum, being excited for the future, finding joy in everything, creating the plan and going out there and testing the plan, and still taking care of yourself. And as we kind of swing it right back to Mental Health Month, it is most important to take care of yourself so that you can take care of the business, and the business can take care of your customer, and in the end, take care of your family and build your legacy.
Yes, yes. Mass plus velocity equals momentum. Let's go, folks. We are confident. We are so excited that we have come to this phase in our podcast, in our show, even in our lives and our careers. That pathway, the joy, and the momentum. You know, the only thing that can stop us and you is you. So we challenge you today to don't put the brakes on. Don't put the brakes on. Put your speed shoes on and get ready to move, because you can move it. You can do it. And, you know, this was a shorter show, a little bit of just kind of casual conversation to wrap up some of the things that we've been talking about over the last few weeks. But we're going to come back next week with a little bit more on mindset for our millionaire-minded entrepreneurs. We want to help you stay there and really keep that momentum going. So we want to say to you, like we do every single week, there is something out there waiting for you.
Now make it happen and go get it.